These people can indeed be the cause of disorder and panic in the country, and they can, for a short while, establish government by using force and strength. However, they cannot be the means of tranquility for the common people. Thus, in such circumstances, a reaction manifests. That although appears to happen spontaneously, but in fact this reaction does not occur suddenly. In fact, a lava has been dormant from right within. And this is now beginning to emerge in various countries, and this will materialize in its own time in other countries. And when this lava explodes, then this also burns those in powers and the tyrants. And then, because such a reaction does not follow a fixed strategy, the oppressed reacts against the oppressor, and to free themselves from this oppression, they use every ounce of their energy and capabilities. And when the oppressed succeeds in gaining freedom, then they too also adopt cruelty. This is why I am saying that Ahmadis should especially pray most intensely for the Muslim world. Before every country falls into the grip of this, and then a long trail of injustice and oppression begins. May Allah give wisdom to both the governments and the people and enable them to tread on the path of taqwa. If the Muslim leadership possess taqwa, if they possess true faith, then where the leaders of the governments are leading the governments as kings, or where the politicians lead governments in the name of democracy, there will be such people who take care of the rights of their subjects or their people. Then there is an organization of Muslim countries. They should not have been an organization just by name. In fact, fulfilling the demands and requirements of justice in Muslim countries, they should have extended a helping hand to one another, and not that acting in their own interest, secretly helping such people who create mayhem and disorder in the world. If they possess true taqwa, then the Muslim world would hold great standing. The Muslim world would have attained its identity and significance from the world. A large section of Asia and some sections of some other continents, they are Muslim countries and there are Muslim governments. But normally in the world, all these countries are considered as poor countries, or they are seen as countries which are undeveloped, or some of these are those which are seen as developing countries. Some of these countries who have the wealth of oil, they too are under the control of powerful nations. Their budget, their loans that they give to others, the aid that they provide to poorer countries, or the budget of aid that they set for poorer countries. So the strings of these things are all in the hands of foreign people. This is because they do not fear God, and instead of fearing God, they instead fear people. And this is also due to ignorance and incapability, and this is because of their vested interests. They neither invest the nation's wealth properly to develop industry, and neither do they use this to invest or improve agriculture. Whereas the fact is, if the collective wealth of the Muslim countries is used, then because of the seasonal climate in these countries, then they have the ability to produce a variety of new crops. With their natural resources, and through individual capabilities, and through fertile and intellectual minds, the Muslim countries can bring about a revolution in the world. However, because their interests and priorities lie elsewhere, this is not achieved. After all, why is it that Muslim scientists and inventors, in terms of their intellectual minds, they attain acknowledgement and appreciation in developed countries? It is because their abilities are not recognized and appreciated to that extent in their own countries. They are not utilized in their own countries. They are not provided with the facilities and the resources. When these people begin to advance and move steps forward, then the leaders and other officials' vested interest stops their progress. Malaysia, amongst the Muslim countries, is normally perceived as quite developed and advanced technologically. However, even the developed countries include Malaysia amongst the developing states. Anyhow, the same fact applies here also, that there is a lack of taqwa. And even though there is no taqwa, everything boils down to Islam. The values have been altered. If we want to progress, we will have to recognize our true values. The circumstances nowadays are very alarming. It has been commanded that a believer is a brother to another believer. When one part of the body suffers, then the other is also hurt. The Holy Quran states similarly that Inna wal mu'minuna ikhwa, that all believers are brothers to one another. But in some countries, for example, the news has emerged from Egypt also, as well as from other countries too, that the government, using the right of government, took action against the public. However, they did not stop just there. In fact, they also caused the people to fight amongst themselves. Those people who supported the governments were provided with weapons. So, citizen fought against citizen, and the government played a role in this. If Muslim countries announce adopting a government based on democracy, then until the public demonstrate a forceful revolt, until then the government should tolerate. However, according to the news, such reaction from the government on the revolts is evident that has taken the lives of hundreds of people. So on the one hand, mimicking the West, they raise the slogan of democracy, and on the other hand, they have no tolerance. And on the other side, Muslims are doing injustices and are being oppressive to other Muslims. If you want to mimic democracy, then you should also create tolerance and patience. The organization in Muslim countries that should have played a role, they did not also play any part. No efforts were made by them towards reformation and reconciliation. All of this has occurred in the past few weeks in Egypt, Tunisia, Libya, and also other countries. Or whatever has been happening for a long time in the hands of extremists in Afghanistan and Pakistan is all the means of disgracing the Muslim world. All of this negates that brotherhood which Muslims have been commanded about. That is, create brotherhood. This is all because, as the promised Messiah, peace be upon him, states in one place, that right now, taqwa has completely disappeared. So thus, at this time, in order to establish the prestige of Islam, in order to establish peace in the countries, in order to create an atmosphere of peace between the general public and those in power and the government, taqwa is required. But nobody is prepared to give attention to this point. There is only one means of drawing attention to this, that repenting and seeking forgiveness, every person should submit before Allah, and they should search out the path of taqwa. And they should see, when zahara al-fasadu fil barri wal bahr, that when disorder appears on the land and the sea, then what is it that should be sought after? What should be looked for? The Holy Quran explains the solution to this. The Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, has also clarified this most vividly, that to remove this disorder, there is only one way. And that path is that in this age, accept the Messiah of the Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, and convey the salam, the greetings of peace of the Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, to him.